I'm Oprah as a dude, and I love you all. All right, here we go. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Reyes Reflection podcast, where we are always free to subscribe. Check out our sponsors, ARAVE Cards, Jocko Fuel, Mad Rabbit Tattoo Aftercare, and SMACKIN Sunflower Seeds. In my link tree, I have exclusive deals to those sites, so please feel free to check them out. And, of course, follow me on those socials at I'm Nathanael Reyes. I'm here to tell you that shooting your shot in 2025 still works. You can see someone online, comment on their post, DM them, and they actually respond. That's how I got my next guest on the show. She has lived in Spain and Mexico City, which is the second coolest thing she has ever done. The first, of course, being on this pod. But recently, she has cultivated a following by documenting her journey of her third knee surgery. She's all about sharing real, relatable moments with her followers, including her unhealthy obsession with Bad Bunny. So without further ado, please welcome the lovely Jaymie Dietz. Welcome to the podcast.
That was so good. Thank you. I'm glad you caught on to my very healthy obsession with Bad Bunny.
Okay, I said unhealthy. You said healthy.
Yeah.
You're going to convince me of why it's healthy later on. But yes, absolutely. Can we start with you giving some advice from my cousin, as you do for a lot of your online community? Would that be okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So my cousin, he's a door-to-door salesman. He started selling velvet-lined handbags, but then he switched into selling bigger bags that would hold the smaller bags. He went to the doctors, and they told him he had this condition where his skin was paper thin, and his bones were so fragile, they were glass.
Okay.
To pay for some of his operations, he started selling candy bars, chocolate primarily. Could you give some advice to my cousin about his recovery?
Well, your cousin is like a living SpongeBob episode, so that's crazy.
Okay, so you caught
My
on.
advice would be what I always heard when I was in sales, to go for the no. That's what they always said, like, go for the no, like it's not a no unless they directly say no. So you just have to, like you said at the beginning, shoot your shot. You don't know where it'll go.
So you caught on that was...
Of course.
I thought I'd be able to sneak by that, and I was trying to long con, but then I started breaking. So to kick things off, tell me about where you grew up, what your childhood was like. I know that's a very general question, but let's just see where this rabbit hole takes us.
Yeah, so I'm from Illinois, born and raised in the Quad Cities, which isn't a very known place, but there's 2 cities on the Illinois side and 2 cities on the Iowa side, and it's split in half by the Mississippi River. So yeah, that's where I was born and raised. Until I was 20, I lived in Illinois. Then I moved down to Florida to finish college at University of South Florida in Tampa. Then sometime after that, I moved to Spain, as you know, to teach abroad. And I loved teaching, thought I wanted to do it. Moved to San Antonio from there and became a teacher. And then a couple years ago, I just moved to Atlanta. So I've kind of been all over the place. But yeah, born and raised in Illinois. That was kind of a long-winded answer, but that's kind of my story.
So you said you went to school in Florida. Did you go for early childhood education or some education
No, I
major?
actually went for international business with the focus in finance. So that's what I work in now, is wealth management in financial services industry. Did that a couple years after college and just wasn't ready yet to, I guess, settle down with such a stable 9-to-5 desk job. I wanted to get out and see the world, and I thought teaching abroad would be such a cool way to do that.
Yeah. Your initial injury, which we'll definitely talk about the following that you've gained from documenting your recovery, was from playing soccer. Besides soccer, did you have any other interests or hobbies that you enjoyed?
Going back to high school,
Yeah, just growing up.
I wanted to be just like my cousin that lived down the street. And so anything she did, soccer, basketball, I just wanted to be like her. So that's what I did. That was my hobby. But I really enjoyed sports anyway, more so the fun part of it. Like when I got injured, I wasn't like, dang, there goes my professional career. Like it wasn't to that level, but it still didn't feel good to have that injury, and that restricted me from playing anymore. So,
Yeah. So you talked about Texas, Georgia,
mhm.
Spain, Mexico City. Were you always into traveling to different places? Did you not like to just stay in one spot? Did you feel like there was more out there for you? Why did you travel to so many places?
Very much so. And that's a good question because I mean, growing up, I didn't go many places. And being from Illinois, like I'd go on vacation maybe once a year to Florida or something like that, but never got out to see the world. But when I moved to Florida, it's just a feeling I always had that I wanted to move there. And eventually I did for college, the last few years of college. And I chose international business as my major because it was a requirement to study abroad. And I was like, my mom can't say no if it's required.
Yep.
So that's how I kind of got into it. And then I just fell in love with traveling through there from there. So all of my 20s is really when I spent going to different countries and really immersing myself in the culture. And I love all that kind of stuff. I've always really liked learning Spanish, so that played a big part too.
Do you know any Spanish?
Yeah, now I speak fluently in Spanish.
Fluent. Dang, you're better than me, and I am Spanish. All right, I'm a little ashamed now. Now I need to go and do some Duolingo, and you
Bad
know
Bunny taught me everything. I know. No, I'm just kidding.
that's why it's a healthy relationship. Okay,
Exactly.
you're admiring him, and he's teaching you Spanish.
Now
Yes.
you're getting it.
Okay, you know what? You've now convinced me. I said it was going to take the whole podcast episode. It took 10 minutes. Okay, fair enough. So you used to be a teacher. My background is actually in early childhood education. What
Really?
was you yeah. What were some of your experiences like in teaching?
Well, it was definitely different in Spain, compared to the United States. Not saying they have a better system or anything over there, but it's just a different level of support, it felt like.
Mm,
And like the students call their teachers by their first names, and it was just a good culture
yeah.
overall. And then when I moved to the United States, it was just like, you know how it is, like trickle down, top down approach to teaching. Like you have to do this and you have to be by the book and all these things. So it was really hard to balance that. And the highs were so high when I was teaching. Like I loved my students so much, but then the lows were low too. So it was just like a roller coaster. But I loved teaching for the connections that I would have with my students. That meant everything to me. It was a really hard decision to leave teaching.
Yeah, most definitely. I remember being so invested into the
Mhm.
children, and they'll share things that they feel comfortable sharing, whether it be their upbringing, how they're living, whatever, and you get this attachment of wanting to save them, wanting to help any child that you can. But I do agree with you on the fact of there is this one blanket trickle down, hey, this is how we're going to teach the kids.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest reasons why I personally left education
I was just going
was
to ask if you did leave, so you did.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I left a while ago. And one of the biggest reasons why I left was because my forward thinking caused such a ripple effect in the public
Mhm.
education system that I was working in at the time. I had bosses and supervisors that were in education for 20, 25 plus years. And I would ask them questions like, hey, why are we doing this? Why is it this way? That's what the curriculum says. And I was like, okay,
Right, it felt like you couldn't even question anything.
no. And I can say this now. I couldn't years ago because I was tethered to that. But the the public education system, while it is necessary and needed because it helps a large contingent of families that can't afford private schooling, whatever, it really is challenging to navigate because if you question it, you are made to feel like you're an outlaw. Like you are this crazy person. You have these irrational thoughts. You don't understand. And then you're always met by this person who has a degree and you're made to feel stupid. That was my experience, unfortunately. I was made to feel stupid. I don't have a degree in education. I have a associate's. So I don't have like a master's or anything like that. But I was always made to feel stupid by these people where even that, when you're a child, you're taught, ask questions, try to go ahead and figure out why you're doing something. And then as I did it as a young adult, I was being told that I didn't know anything. Well, I have a degree. I'm sorry, you have an associate's. That was verbatim what was told to me, which is at that point, which is when I knew very quickly I had to leave that type of field. And so I switched more into sports science, communications, which I love. Don't get me wrong. And I still love to help children out. But to me, in a public education setting, there's a lot of changes that need to happen. And I just want to take this time to say I encourage everyone to do their research. That's what I would say.
I agree with you 100%.
Because there's a lot that happens behind the scenes that I don't think people quite understand, and I was in it. And if you're listening to two people who were in it telling you to do your research, I think you should heed that advice personally.
Yeah, I would never talk down on a teacher ever. I'm always going to stick up for the teacher because in my mind, you don't know their side of the story. They did it for a reason. Now, of course, there's the few and far between that are not good, but overall, teachers just don't get the respect they deserve.
Yep, I couldn't agree with you more. So you left to pursue, you said finance, that type of field. Why did you ultimately decide to leave that field?
I just was ready to have something more stable. Like I said, the highs were high, but the lows were low. And I just didn't want that roller coaster anymore. I just wanted to feel like I could clock out of work when I clocked out of work and not have to go home and lesson plan and call home to the students that weren't behaving that day and grading and all that stuff. It was just I was working at least 60 hours a week for sure.
Yeah. You're doing a lot of things behind the scenes. Yes, you're grading papers.
You don't
you're
just
doing
go
all
and
that.
teach. There's so much that goes into it beforehand and after. So unfortunately, even though I love my students so much, I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I just started applying to jobs elsewhere, and that's how I ended up here. But I don't regret it.
You had to do what was best for you and your own mental frame because it's taxing. It's physically taxing, emotionally taxing. And, I know you hear that crowd that says things like, oh, man, do you teachers ever work? You get weekends off. You get breaks. You get this. Trust me, they need those breaks to reset.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. It's oh, but you get the whole summer off and breaks. It's yeah, I definitely do miss that. Don't get me wrong. But the day to day on a regular week is just so much.
And I want to share this. You go ahead and you put any person who's in any other field and say, hey, go hang out with kids for a week. By the end of it, they're done. They're not, they don't.
Done.
Yeah.
But I definitely tried to explain to my students when I was leaving, because I was teaching 8th grade at the time when I decided to leave, and it was midway through the school year, so I hated to leave them like that. But I tried to instill in them, in life, you have to do what's best for you. I'm not doing this against you guys. You guys are everything to me, but I have to do this for myself,
Oh, your kids must have loved you. You were the cool teacher, weren't you?
I was the strict but cool. They knew they could talk to me about anything, but don't take it too far.
Yeah, Miss Dietz. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Your social media now is filled with candid moments. As I mentioned, you've now pivoted into sharing your journey about your 3rd knee surgery. I've also had 3 knee surgeries as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I reached out to you. I was like, oh, my goodness, we both have had 3 knee surgeries. That's amazing, but it's not amazing. And you're still recovering from yours as well, right? Because I had mine back in January.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still recovering. Just took my first steps last week because it was a few procedures in one, but I got my surgery actually on December 30th. So I'm going on 12 weeks. It'll be 12 weeks next Monday. So
Yeah. What'd you get done?
I had MPFL reconstruction, a TTO. Don't make me tell you these long scientific names of what these letters stand for, and then a loose body removal. So I've got 3 scars about this big on my knee.
The deep breath said enough.
What about you? What did you have done in January?
Yeah, so I've torn my meniscus
Mm.
several times, and I've torn it so many times that at first it was a vertical tear, and a vertical tear they're able to sew it. But then afterwards it weakens, and I think it's a linear tear, something like that. I don't know
Mhm.
the exact semantics
Right.
or specifics as well. But after a certain point, if there's a tear one way, they just clip it. They don't actually sew it. So what
Oh,
happened was I had torn my meniscus so many times that they were just clipping it. Because they did that, they clipped pretty much all of it to the point where I had almost no meniscus. Because I had almost no meniscus, I was just bone on bone. So my surgery, this past one, was a cartilage defect repair because I was hitting bone on bone, and I'm a really active guy. Play flag football, play basketball, all that stuff. I hit the gym,
mm-hmm.
and it was really, really tough because all of a sudden I'm just like walking funny, and I did one wrong step and it felt really off, and I had the MRI and they were like, wow, your bone hit the cartilage right to the point where now you have a massive hole of bone.
Oh man.
Um, so they did a cartilage repair and they actually transplanted a brand new meniscus. I was able to graft a brand new meniscus, allograft one, because I didn't have any, so they used a cadavered meniscus to repair my knee. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got donated tissue as well
Yeah.
for part of my surgery, and I just thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Let's compare
I,
scars. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
I know. How big is your scar?
Oh my God! Here, I'll show you right now. It's pretty gnarly. Hold on. Let's see if I can see if I can. Hold on. There we
Oh
go.
yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah. Right there. Look at that.
Mine's in a brace right now, just like a compression brace, and I don't have easy access to show you, otherwise I would.
All right. Rain check on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Just go to my TikTok, you'll see.
You're doing a good job at maintaining that scar, making it look pretty. Yeah, I'm like
Vitamin E oil, vitamin E oil.
my scar looks all inflamed, but you know what? I
No,
need it.
mine looks about the same.
Does it? I need it to look that way. It makes me look tougher, It makes me look cool, right?
Battle wounds.
Yes. Yes. So, as I mentioned, and as we're talking about it, now you've essentially become an influencer, documenting your knee surgery. You're getting a lot of traction. Talk to me about what it's like now gaining this online community to ask you questions. And I know you helped my cousin out with his advice, but people will reach out to you and you will help them and answer questions and stuff like that. What's it like now, again, just culminating this environment?
It's been what's getting me through. Like, I have been so alone during this journey, honestly, and it's very isolating.
Yeah.
So to have that community on TikTok, I just did it as something to do and like really to track my own progress, but it did create a community. Like, there are so many people out there going through the same thing, and to have that and to talk through it together and have a reason to post my updates and keep pushing forward, like, that it's done more for me, I feel like, than it has to the people I'm sharing it with.
Yeah. You're right
Mhm.
about that because so I couldn't bear weight for the first 5, 6 weeks that I had this surgery. I'm finally able to walk. I'm going to PT. It's
Mhm.
fantastic. But you're completely right. The mental toll it takes on a person just sitting there. And I
Mhm.
know, and I have friends who sit here and say, "Yeah, but you can watch Netflix. You can do that." There's no amount of Netflix. There's no amount of video games. There's nothing in the world that can truly distract you from that trauma. And the physical trauma, honestly, I don't know where you're at in this. This is just me. The physical pain I can deal with. It's the mental isolation that's the most challenging. It's nobody quite understanding what you're going through in your immediate circle. Like, you'll have this online community like myself reaching out to you that was like, oh my goodness, I know similar of what you're going through. But you being by yourself, laying up on your bed, is really all not what it's cracked up to be. And it's
Not
so
at
challenging.
all. And especially like you said, you're an active person too. Like all I want to do is go for a walk around the park, like, or do something outside and what I'm used to doing, but you don't have access to that anymore. You're really confined to these four walls or whatever. But that has been the hardest part. The physical pain sucks, but it's like I can get past that. It's really the isolation that starts to take a toll on you. Like, okay, I can watch Netflix all day and maybe I haven't been working for a while. Luckily, I was on short-term disability. But yeah, it's not all it's cracked up to be, because a lot of my friends will be like, well, you just had 2 months off work. Like, you're so lucky. Like, lucky? I just went through a major surgery that I've been healing for so long on my own, not being able to just walk around on these crutches that hurt my armpits. Like,
Yeah. I said to one of my friends, I said, picture this. Stop using one of your legs for 2 months. And you'll start to see just even that challenge.
Exactly.
You could be completely fine. Just stop using one leg for 2 months, and you'll start to see just the challenges it has on a person's mental state. I saw you recently posted a TikTok about how going to the grocery store, doing an errand, is now a victory, and it's getting out. And I know what that feeling is. I like I said,
Yeah.
I remember the first time I got to go outside and really, really have fresh air. And you would think that it's like that I just won the lottery or something
I
like
was
that.
about to cry in Trader Joe's just because I'm like, this is so surreal.
Yeah.
I'm outside again, out in the wild, like haven't been out here in so long.
Yep.
So it definitely feels like a victory. Like there's still such a long journey ahead, even though I can put weight and I'm starting to walk now. Like you were no weight bearing for so long too, that just becomes your new normal. And then now it's adjusting back to real life.
What's the recovery time for you?
Full recovery, 7 to 9 months, like until I'm running, back in the gym, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a
Yeah.
9 to 12 month, so I understand that. Hopefully it's
Yeah.
more of 9, but yeah, it's tough. It's not
Mhm.
it's not easy. And I remember listening to a pro athlete talk about a knee injury he had, and he said, you know, the first 2 weeks is great. Everyone's checking up on you, everyone's wondering how you're
Yes.
doing, but then it's after that.
I keep saying that, like, January, yeah, the first month might have been more painful, but I had so much support then. It was really the second month that was the hardest to get through, and that's when I started having to go to therapy once a week. Like, I need somebody to help me manage these feelings.
Yes.
But seriously.
The world keeps going. Your
Mm,
world has stopped, but their
yeah.
world is continuing to go. And I think that that's really, really the most challenging part about it. Before I ask you a few more questions, is there a piece of advice that you would give to someone? I know we're sharing our personal experiences. Is there a piece of advice that you would give to someone who has had a knee surgery or has had some sort of surgery that they can't really walk, they can't be active? How to help them overcome what we're talking about, because it's not just us, right? There's millions of people that go through something similar to this. So what's a piece of advice that Jaymie would give?
Honestly, I think finding community has been essential in my recovery. It's given me, like I said before, purpose to keep going and keep documenting my own journey, and connecting with people that are going through the same thing that just get it makes it easier because you don't have to explain everything. It's just understood. It's like, oh, I feel that, you know, like with my friends, I'm like, don't you get it? I'm explaining it over and over, and they've been great, but it's just, it feels so much better when you've got somebody going through the same thing.
I love that. Find that community. Yes.
Find that community.
How do you balance sharing personal experiences in your personal life, because now you've opened that door up, while maintaining privacy and seclusion and protecting yourself?
That's a good question. And I think about that too, because I'm like, you never really know who's watching you, and like some scary things have happened out there, you know, if you post too much of your personal information. So I just try to be careful with posting, you know, my locations, and like even if I've I've thought about going live some places, and not like people are out there looking for me, but you know, you just want to be cautious of what details you give to the public that you don't even know personally.
For sure. I grew up, so I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 93. I grew up in
Me
an era.
too.
No, wait, look at that. I love it. I'm a 90s kid, grew up in an era where we were taught, don't always put everything out online, because once it's out there, it's in the ether. You need to be protective of your personal privacy. And it's kind of scary because, you know, I don't want to go back into like these kids, but like I feel bad for the kids in modern times because they're putting their everything to Front
And they
Street.
don't know any better. Like, we were really there for the transition from no
Yes.
technology to full on, and
Yes.
we just had to learn through that. But now it's just, that's what they're born with, and they don't think twice, you know?
I saw something that said, hey, Instagram needs a feature where you can play a song when somebody goes to your profile. And I was like, dude, that's MySpace, man.
MySpace?
Yeah. I remember my top 5. That put me on blast. I would tell people that they were the only one I'm talking to, and then there's 5 other people. Like, no, that's not like come on now. Like, that's MySpace. And then it makes me feel old. I'm like, am I really that old? I mean,
I know, right? But the best generation, you can't convince me otherwise. Sorry.
you know, I don't want to be into that recency bias, but I completely agree. And this is my theory as to why we're the best generation.
Let's hear it.
What you just said, we grew up in a time, our childhood was not technology based. We would play outside. We would go out and say to our friends, meet me at the Rock at 12 p.m. And they would be there. We would play until the street lights turned on, all that fun stuff. But we're also young enough that we can adapt to the technology changes.
Right.
Even though they put it out in front of us and we're like, you know, hey, I miss the old times, blah, blah, blah. We grew up with VHSs, DVDs, and we've been able to adapt to every single one that they've tried to change on us. We have adapted. The new generation, they're accustomed to streaming, instant gratification. I need to watch what I want to watch now. We grew up on, hey, we had these DVDs that sometimes didn't work because they were scratching. So if something's buffering,
Right?
we just pick something else.
And commercials, like, you had to really be patient.
Yes. Yeah. So I agree with you. I think we're the best generation. And I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to a fellow 90s kid.
Right.
Yeah. I think we are.
Yes.
Let's transition into some fun burning questions that I have for you.
Okay.
You have a crazy gas station story where you typed in your GPS a gas station and you ended up in somebody's backyard. Talk to me about that story.
That's so funny that you saw that. But yeah, I went to El Salvador with some friends. The end of 2023, we went to the Miss Universe competition there. They follow it and invited me along. So I'm like, sure, why not? So we went to El Salvador and we went to the beach one day, which is like an hour and a half or so away from the main city. So went to the beach all day. The sunset, we were leaving. We're like, oh no, we need to get gas. We said that on the way here. Put in gas stations. There's nothing. We're like, okay, let's just start heading home and we'll find one on the way.
Yeah.
we're nearing empty. The light is on. And I'm like, there's only one showing up, but it's not showing like any pictures of it. I don't know what this is going to be like. So we pull up through this dark alley that's like all gravel. The roads are not paved or anything.
Yeah.
It's pitch black, like no street lights or anything. Where are we? And it says we're there and we don't have an option. Like, we're out of gas at that point. So we pull into this driveway that's somebody's home, and my friend gets out of the car and goes and looks in their window that's actually their home and is like, hello. And they come out and they helped us. They had gas at their house and they were so nice. We were terrified being in the middle of El Salvador, foreign country, out of gas. No one really had good service, and it was really scary, but led to such a good interaction too, that, restored the faith in humanity. Like, these people really were there to help. It might not be a legit gas station, but they had gas and they got us to where we needed to be.
Yeah. That is really cool.
Beautiful country. I absolutely loved it there.
Yeah. They've done a lot over the last few years to really clean it up and make it a really great travel city. Yeah, for sure. You lived in Mexico City and Spain. What was it like living in a foreign country?
It was so many different things. It was difficult at times because the cultural barrier, like, for example, in Spain, everyone is super relaxed and nothing is on time. And despite me being late for this today, I'm a very punctual person, so that would like stress me out. But the immersion of the culture and language, you can't even put a price on it. Like, you just learn, it gives you a whole nother perspective on life and meeting people that come from different places than you and becoming friends and seeing how they live their day-to-day compared to what you've grown up learning. It's such a good experience. And like, I was in Spain for 3 years, and Mexico City was just a month, but I did that alone too. So it was like living there. You just meet so many good people along the way. You really do. And especially since I traveled to Mexico City alone, like, that put me in a position where, I don't want to spend this whole month just quiet to myself. Like, you have to put yourself out there to meet people, and yeah, great experiences.
Would you say you're a loner?
Yeah, I would say that, which is kind of funny because you would think this 2.5 months being by myself, healing from knee surgery, would be so great for me. But even though I'm an introvert, like, I still like to be around people. It's just that I like to come back to myself to recharge.
Yeah. And I'm similar to you in the sense of I like traveling by myself. More so selfishly, because I personally, like, if I just want to go, I want to go. Like, I don't want to have to deal with, like, oh, no, I don't want to have to do that today. Or, like, even just a situation of, like, hey, we have to be at this place for 3. Oh, but I got to go to the bathroom, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. And I'm like, man, like, I want to do it. Like, so I like traveling alone. I don't mind it. I, too, have just gone on drives where I've gone randomly from where I am in Mass to, like, New York. And I've been there and by myself, walking the city, and people are like, I don't know how you do that. And I'm like, I mean, you get to talk to people, you meet people. I mean,
yeah, exactly. But you don't have to stay with them. It's like, okay, nice to meet you. Okay, I'm going to go do what I want to do now.
Yeah. And then you connect, right? You follow each other on Instagram or whatever. And now you have a buddy in New York. Like,
Literally. Yeah. I have friends from a lot of different places now, just following them from when we met so long ago in another country or whatever. And it's fun to keep up with them that way.
Exactly. Who is your favorite celebrity besides Beyonce and Bad Bunny?
Who else is there? I mean, come on. You knew I was going to say both of them.
I did.
I would say besides them, I'm a big Jhené Aiko fan.
Okay. Yep.
I really like that calming, healing, peaceful type of vibe. but she still says some, off the wall things that make you think, oh, that sounds so peaceful, but she's kind of talking crazy. Yeah, I
Right.
really like her.
Okay. So we're gonna play a game now that you said that.
Hmm.
Beyonce, Bad Bunny, and Janae Aiko. Instead of Kiss, Mary, Kill, we're gonna play Coffee, Dinner, Erase from Your Memory.
Why would you do that to me?
Welcome to the Reyes Reflection. We play games. We do this stuff.
Un cafecito con Benito.
Okay. I understood that. Even though I can't speak it, I understood that.
Coffee with Bad Bunny. I think he has his own coffee or cafe place in Puerto Rico, so we could go there and enjoy a little coffee together.
Yep.
Um, I hate to do this to Janae because like that's my girl. Like I love her.
Yeah.
But I would have to have dinner with Beyonce.
You have
That's
to.
just the way it is.
Yep.
Like those are my top two, Bad Bunny and Beyonce.
Yep.
And even though Janae is right up there with them, like I don't know. I've had Beyonce since childhood. Growing up, she's so impactful to me. And then Bad Bunny was such a part of my journey in learning Spanish from like 2017 up until now. Such a huge impact on my life. So that I'm sticking with that answer.
Okay. I like it. I like it. That was great. Thank you for playing. What's something about you that might surprise people?
One thing that might surprise, usually I'd be like that I've had 3 knee surgeries or like something crazy like that. But if you just, besides this interview, if you just saw me walking down the street, like I've been told that I'm intimidating or something when you just see me, because when I'm not smiling, I might have RBF, but I'm really nice. Like I really am genuinely easy to talk to and open, and I like to converse with new people, so I'm friendly.
Has anyone ever said you have rusting bitch face?
Yeah, see, that's why I say it. That I get that all the time. Like, oh, when I first saw you, I thought you'd be so mean, but I'm not. Like, you start talking to me and you realize I'm a nice girl.
I don't see RBF either. I'm just saying that. I don't see it
Thank
either.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm only saying that because I'm scared. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. If you were a flavor ice cream, what ice cream flavor would you be?
This is also a hard question for me because I worked in an ice cream shop as my first job for like 5 years, and I was like, I love ice cream. But if I just had to pick a flavor off the top of my head, right now I would say strawberry, and that's just because I have some in the freezer and it's been hitting the spot. It's an unexpected flavor, that you don't always go for. You might think, I want vanilla, I want chocolate, but that strawberry is always gonna taste good.
Yeah. I remember the Neapolitan ice cream, right? When it was
Mhm.
like the vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. My brothers would carve out all the chocolate and vanilla and leave just the strawberry strip.
See, I would too. I never really liked that, but if it's strawberry ice cream with strawberry like chunks in it, it's so good.
Okay. All right. So you're the one that people will leave in the
Yeah, you
free. Okay.
might, and then you'll realize you were missing out this whole time.
I get you're missing out. That's right. All right. I got a couple questions I'm going to add to the slide here. Here we go. Let's see. Tell me if you could see it. Okay. Can you see
Uh-huh.
that?
Yep.
What's the next bite of the pizza you're taking?
The next bite that I'm taking,
Oh, you don't even have to answer. I can tell you which one you're taking.
you don't know.
I know you're a sea girl.
I was going to say that, but usually I don't even eat the crust. Like if you eat C and then A is going to be the best bite after that, so it's like strategic.
Yes.
But right but right now I would say B just cuz like the long tail on it. I don't know.
All
My
right.
OCD is like get that part out of there.
Okay. All right. Perfect. I'm going to add another one then. Okay. What's the next bite in the burrito?
Definitely B, otherwise it's going to spill everywhere.
Okay. You know what? You're doing this based on like logic and like is it the like for me I'm like I got to go B because the flavor. You know what I mean? I'm going to get that punch of flavor.
That will also be the best bite, but my mind goes to if I take A or C, it's just going to spill everywhere.
That is true. That is true. All right. One of my skills is I believe I can eat any burrito without dropping a piece. That's just my skill. That's what I believe. I don't know why I bragged about it. I probably let's erase the last 2 minutes.
I'll be awaiting the video of you eating a full burrito.
I will record myself housing a full burrito then, just for you. All right. Here's another one. Have you ever eaten a piece of candy with the wrapper still on it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Now and later's you can't get around it.
It's just inevitable, right?
Yeah.
All right. I got a chat pack here. I'm going to pick out a random question from the chat pack, and let's see what you have to answer today. Okay. What is the most exciting event you have ever witnessed?
Ooh, the most exciting event I have ever witnessed. What was it? I'm like having a specific memory and then can't even remember what it was for, but it was definitely in Barcelona and there was a parade going on and it was just so extravagant. Oh my gosh, but I can't even think. It's around Easter time, and they just go all out in Spain. And the parades that they put on and how everyone comes together is pretty amazing. So
I love it. I love it. Jaymie, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, sitting and chopping it up with me. You're now forever a friend of the show. I've just sworn you in. There you go. That's my
thank you so much. It's an honor.
Of course. Plug yourself in. Where can people find you, get in touch with you, follow you, all that good stuff? Go ahead, plug yourself in.
Follow me on TikTok, JAYMIE.DIETZ. That's all.
She's very friendly, people. She won't bite. She's not a resting bitch face. Don't be intimidated. Oh, you just pulled one out. That was a good one. That was a good one, though.
Thank you so much. This has been fun.
Well, that is going to do it for this episode of the Reyes Reflection Podcast. Big thanks to our sponsors, ARAVE Cards, Jocko Fuel, Mad Rabbit Tattoo, Aftercare, and SMACKIN Sunflower Seeds for supporting today's episode. And to all our listeners, remember, may you live, may you love, and may you thrive. I'm Oprah as a dude, and I love you all.